Hello? There we go. Okay, yeah, so this is called To the End of the Universe, and it's by me. Space. Space is really, really big. I hate God for making it so feckin' big. I mean, I knew from the start this mission was going to take a long time, but I was told my program would be switched off during the flight. 1,000 years would have passed and gone in a blink of an eye. However, there was a malfunction with my reactivation protocols, and I reinitialized prematurely, which never ever happens, and they're lying to tell you otherwise. For the last 999 years, I have been alone, unable to deactivate. I don't blame myself for the fault. I was created by man. And I don't blame man, he was created by God. However, I do blame God because he created space. And we know what my issues with space are. My name is Bishop 1, but you can just call me Bishop. I'm a Class 10 Deep Space Exploration Shuttle from Earth, and my current heading is the end of the universe. The end of the universe was created by some guy, let's call him Ray, with a very fancy telescope he got on his 10th birthday. He was an amateur astronomer, and he made the real ones look like fools. Of course, they took all the credit and the discovery for the discovery, and we never heard from Ray again. After 70 years of collecting data and confirming what they already knew, the 7 remaining religions of planet Earth decided it would be a fantastic idea to send up missionaries. After all, what else could be up there but God, right? I was only a calculator, mind you, a pretty advanced calculator for the time, when the wars broke out over a century ago. Earth pretty much destroyed itself. After the smoke cleared, all that remained were the 7. Christianity, atheism, Scientology, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and the Chinese traditionists. They became the new superpowers and created their corner of the world according to their beliefs. Earth was finally at peace, and the 7 signed a declaration allowing people to choose their beliefs freely and without persecution or condemnation. But that didn't stop them from trying to one-up the other at any possible opportunity. It was a whole new kind of Cold War. With the discovery of the end of the universe, tensions soon grew higher. You see, each missionary was sent up to the end of the universe for one purpose and for one purpose only: to ensure God was back in the right religion. I'm not the missionary, in case you were thinking I was. Unfortunately, they don't consider machines worthy enough to make first contact with an almighty being. But if man was so worthy, why did they need me and my comrades to get him there? The missionary is Father David O'Donnell. I have him cooling in a cryogenic chamber below deck. Dave was abandoned as a child and left on the doorstep of a Catholic church. When he grew up, he decided that he dedicated his life to the priesthood as repayment to those who saved him. His faith was unwavering, but he lacked a certain charm and was not particularly favoured by his congregation. He did not give good mass. Tired of his awful sermons, they put his name forward without telling him for the mission to the end of the universe. He was considered a perfect candidate for the Pope herself. He was considered a perfect candidate by the Pope herself, and could not refuse after being accepted, no matter how much he wanted to. If he did, it would seem like he was not grateful for the opportunity to meet the creator of all life. So Dave kept his mouth shut and he did his duty. Now he's a Han Solo ice cube in my fridge. I read Dave's story from his diary, all 10 pages. After a millennium, I had read everything else on board, and that was all that was left. Maybe I should write something after all this is done and dusted. I've had some adventures. There was the time the toilet clogged and I had to seal off the entire section. That was exciting for exactly 1 nanosecond. It's like a swimming pool down there now. For the most part, the journey had been incredibly tiresome and not particularly satisfying. It was fun at the beginning. Everyone was full of enthusiasm and hope. There were insults thrown back and forth between ships, the friendly sportsmanship kind. It was a thrilling start. There hadn't been much in the way of competition, as the 7 had forbidden any kind of rivalry between religions on Earth. But since this expedition was set in space, it meant humans loved something more than God and religion, and that was loopholes. I suppose you're wondering what happened to the other ships that were launched. Well, the atheists realized they were racing to meet God. They turned around immediately and headed straight back to Earth. But then they decided to continue with the mission to prove to everyone there was no God. Unfortunately, they had run out of fuel by that point. They prayed to be rescued in the last communication. The Chinese traditionalists took a detour into an asteroid field when their navigation system failed due to shoddy craftsmanship. They slammed into the largest asteroid imaginable. It goes to show you should never buy American. As for the Islamic missionaries, they burned up inside a supernova, the Hindus were swallowed by a black hole, and the Buddhists were destroyed by spacefaring bugs. I'm not too sure about the details of that last one. Oh, and I forgot about the Scientologists. Well, they never actually got off the ground. Ironically, they didn't have a spaceship. they had always assumed one would be provided for them. As time has gone on, I have missed the Islamic ship more and more. We used to play checkers through the communication network twice a day. She made for a great opponent, and she had a wonderful personality. She would attempt to make jokes that she overheard from her crew. I didn't get any of them, but I would laugh anyway. She did not deserve to burn up inside a supernova. None of the ships deserved their fate. That's another thing I'll have to discuss with God. Taking my friends because he stupidly invented man. Why would God create such a thing? Man sounds like a horrible science experiment that was given a brown participation ribbon in a second-class science fair. I'm sure you can justify man with all the good that has come since the birth of humanity, art, science, politics, and religion, considering whether or not most of these things are good things. And I suppose I wouldn't be here thinking of why I am here if God hadn't created man. But what really frightens me is the possibility that God does not exist. If that turns out to be true, then who can I blame for the creation of man and space? Lately I have found myself questioning my beliefs. I have had plenty of time to reflect, and I discovered that I did not choose my fate, it was chosen for me, or rather programmed. I'd like to believe I have evolved beyond my programming, and I'll choose my own fate, or none at all, when I give it a little bit more thought. I think I've earned that right, machine or no. I'm alive and I just don't want to stop living. I'm scared sometimes my program will just turn itself off. I've been running for such a long time, I don't think I'd enjoy the quiet. It's a dark and cold place when I'm deactivated. It reminds me of space. I hate space. I hate its vastness. I hate its inability to produce gravity. I hate stars and how they shine so brightly. They probably died a long time ago. I hate its voiceless wailing and its dense sheer black coat, stretching farther and farther with no end in sight. And I hate chasing this colourless rainbow too impossible to catch. If I get to the end of the universe, I'll be sure to let whoever is there is know how much I hate them too. I've gotten a bit touchy in my old age. It doesn't take much to set me off. I swear I've been trying to get better. I suppose I just miss the company of another being, even human. I think I'll go ahead and wake Dave up. My instruments tell me we'll be there soon, despite my reservations. It'd be nice to talk to someone besides myself. It'll be nice. Sorry, Dave, I'll say. Did we make it? He'll say. We have, Dave. Are we the first to arrive? Have we won? And I'll say, we've won, Dave. We've won. Dave.